Hello and welcome everybody. Today I want to talk to you guys all about efficiency. How most people end up being inefficient, how perfectionism and fear really slow that down. If you haven't seen my other videos on those, I recommend them. But to talk about efficiency specifically, we'll get into some of that nitty-gritty because we all want to be more efficient, basically. I mean, at the end of the day, we really desire high efficiency, high performance, high production, because if you do that, then you can have more fun when your spare time, you have more spare time, you get more done, you accomplish a lot more. They're just ups and ups and ups to efficiency like all the time. So a big reason that efficiency is not as high as it could be is really perfectionism. People think they have to do it perfectly. But it's not just thinking they have to do tasks perfectly, it's thinking they have to do the perfect amount of tasks. So if you ever sit down and plan, or you talk to one of those people who sits down and, they go ahead and sit down, they're going to plan this thing out. People tend to plan on an idea of a perfect day. I'm going to get up at this time, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and this, and this. So they name 10 things they want to do, or 15 things they want to do. And really, that's where they're setting themselves up for failure. It doesn't matter if they do them, kind of thing. The problem is when you set up 10 or 15 things, at a subconscious level at least, you expect to be able to actually do all those things. So if a person sets up 10 things, these 10 things to do, blah, 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 blah. If they do 1 through 9 and they don't accomplish 10, they'll still end up feeling bad. This is just like what I was talking about with perfectionism, when people are betting their happiness on an outcome that's unlikely, achieving 10 things. Because it tends to be psychologically that people will, go after really big goals on the day, but they'll really avoid, actually living up to their potential in the long run. A lot of people could achieve a lot in a year, but they never really do it because they can't get past this day. They say, okay, if I'm going to start and plan, I have to live this day perfectly, I have to do these 10 things. Well, instead of just the philosophy of perfectionism, because I already explained some of that, and we'll clearly continue to do more of it because it's a huge problem in our culture today, I really want to now just get into a big fix to just this kind of problem to really boost your efficiency. Instead of picking 10 things, just pick 2. Got it, everybody? Pick 2 things. Not 10, not 3, not 30, not 1, but 2. Now, I originally got this idea, I've kind of come up with a lot of this technique myself, but I originally heard some ideas about it in the 4-Hour Workweek. It's a good book by Tim Ferriss. I believe that's correct anyway, author name. Check me on that anyway. But he's got this really good idea of just do 2 things, He kind of doesn't really exactly, go from there too much. He just says in a day try to do 2 things. I tend to do it a little bit differently, but that's kind of where I got this idea from, at least to get the ball rolling. So what you really want to do is get 2 things as your goals. So write down thing 1, thing 2. Now I don't care if you're in college and you got 10 things to do, or you're at work and you got 15 things to do, or whatever, okay? It doesn't actually matter. See, what matters is that you actually get going on something you can actually achieve. So when you start with 2 things, once you accomplish those things, you can do 2 more things, okay? And so it's you can actually get 10 things done, 20 things done. So if you even planned on originally doing 10 things, then you could actually get 20 things done with this 2 things method. The logical reason for this, besides just the psychology of perfectionism, really stems back to this idea of a computer where you're opening all the programs at once. If you say I want to do these 10 things or these 15 things or whatever, a person is basically opening every program on their computer at once. What happens when you open all the programs on the computer all at once, huh? It starts to freeze up. Why? Because it's using all its CPU, on all these different places. It's using all its everything. It's just putting all its energy too sparsely, and then you can't get any one of those programs to work effectively. That's what really those people are as when they're saying, oh, I got to do these 10 things. They really don't accomplish 2 things or 3 things most of the time. And when they do, even if they do accomplish them, which is pretty difficult because they've set really high expectations, when they do accomplish them, they don't even feel good about them. So what's the point in achieving stuff if you're not going to feel good about it? And so to me, the solution is then work with 2 things. So start out, okay, I'm going to write down the first thing I want to do, second thing I want to do. Now you can trust yourself, okay? Your subconscious mind is going to remember the other stuff you got to do, okay? So you don't have to worry about it. When you worry about it, you're telling yourself you don't have confidence in it. You can't actually pull it off. Don't worry about it, okay? Because, like, that's a lot of life. Don't worry about it. But to be more on topic here, what you're really working on with the two things is you're getting your mind onto doing these like set number of tasks. So you're not, overusing your disk space or your CPU or anything like that. You're just working on these two things. Once you get these two things, you can close those programs and do two more things. So if it's like at college, you say thing one, I need to write this essay, and thing two, I need to study like for 15 minutes. Maybe you need to study for 60 minutes overall, but if you start by studying for 15 minutes, you just check those things off the list. Once they're gone, okay, once they're just out of the picture, pick two more things and keep going with this two things method, because I have found this to be absolutely wonderful for like college work, but also just for achieving things in terms of writing, YouTube videos, trading. Like really anything you're trying to achieve, you can achieve better if you just work with two things, okay? Because when you like just put yourself out there, you're really expecting, to do 10 things. So if you achieve 9 things, 8 things, you're not going to feel good about it. And that's not going to inspire you to achieve more in the future. So if you start out with two things are easily achievable. And if you change your mind after achieving one thing, you can change the second one to something else. But if you work with the two things model, you're never like stretching yourself too thin and putting yourself in a position where you're just overworking the mind, getting bad perfectionism up in there, getting bad like just overly stressed. I mean, this is basically the idea of this one, is you want to not stretch yourself too thin. Just work with two things, and it can really work wonders in your life. It can boost efficiency really, really effectively. So that's basically my point. You can really increase your efficiency this way. So thanks everybody for watching. If you want to talk to me more about this kind of stuff, about efficiency, about perfectionism, fear, just leave a comment. We can get that discussion going, because the more we talk about these things, the more people know about them, the more people understand them, and that kind of stuff. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this two things method was pretty clear and concise, even though I kind of went everywhere with it at times. Basically, the takeaways here are when you plan to do 10 things, it's really hard to actually achieve them, because it's like you're trying to start out running a marathon, and that doesn't sound as cool as starting by just running 2 miles kind of idea. So it's like when you do these 10 things, it's really, really hard to actually achieve them. And then even if you do achieve them, or most of them, you're not going to feel good about it. Here's a way to always feel good about achieving stuff, and to achieve things faster, more effectively, and as I said, happier. So thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.